today. Um, so why don't we do this? By show of hands, how many of us is this the first AMM call you have been on since joining Agents First? So we've got one. Okay. And so Michelle, I think you might have joined last week, but other than that, yeah, you're pretty new too. So yeah, so I think that's great. Now, this is one of the things that this is designed for. So on Wednesdays we have two AMM calls. The first one, this one right here that you guys are all on, this is more of an intro level. This is for an agent that says, I know life insurance, but I really do not know IULs, participating whole life, fixed index annuities. I really don't know how to use these, talk about them, set them up, those kind of things. But man, would it be fantastic if I was able to utilize some resources within this organization so I could make passive income. And that is what our program, Advanced Market Masters, actually is. It is a program that you do not have to be certified. You do not have to know anything. We give you questions, tools, concepts that you can talk to your clients and say, hey, would you have any interest in something that acted like a retirement account disguised as insurance that would guarantee no losses, 100% liquidity, and no taxes? Something like that. If so, great. Let me connect you with one of my subject matter experts, one of my counterparts, right? That's what this is designed for. You get 40% of the commission. Our average advanced market commissions right now, folks, on the split is over $4,000 on the split. That is your piece. I don't know if you heard that. I'm going to say that one more time. That is the average agent's split, $4,000. How many calls do you have to make selling final expense to be able to get that? How about mortgage protection, right? That's on one. So this is the whole goal. This is what we're trying to do here with this. So that is what we are going to be going over today. So first of all,
Scott,
yes,
yeah, give me a chance to chime in on something that happened yesterday, and we're going to
yeah,
talk. We're going to use that what you just spoke about to tie in, if that's okay.
sure.
Okay, so guys, and first of all, I got Matt on here. I just spoke with Matt about 15 minutes ago, and Matt gave me the story that you hear all the time, right? It's like, hey, I wanted to do IULs annuity. That's the reason I got into it for the finance part of it.
Mm.
But somehow I got snookered into doing final expense. And he said that's all they want to do, and they didn't know they didn't understand the other stuff. What Matt's about to find out today is that Agents First, like our bread and butter, is wrapped all around and embraced and encircled around the advanced market side, and that's you're about to hear from the genius here in a little bit. So he's going to be sharing that. But having said that, we do mortgage protection, we do final expense, but through those scenarios, we look for clients that maybe is a better fit for the advanced market side. And I'm going to give you that scenario laid out for you. Michelle, yesterday, Michelle Randall, a new agent, her and I had a meeting with the gentleman about mortgage protection because she felt like she said, when I talked to him, he had a mortgage, right? So obviously, we're going to go mortgage protection route. As I'm talking to him, he says, if something happens to me, my wife's taken care of. I got money in an IRA and I got money put aside for this, and she's going to be good. I think we're going to be fine. And I said, we need to talk about it. I said, how did that money look sitting there? Are you going to have to pay taxes on it if you pull it out? Yeah. Well, what if you want to move it around? Like, do you have liquidity where you can just move that money? Not really. So you're putting money somewhere that you really don't have control of. How would you like to have a little bit more control of your money? Well, tell me more. And we started talking. And I said, what we're going to do, by the time I got through talking, this was a prime candidate for an infinite banking Fortis, right? Our proprietary product called Fortis that Scott created. And so I told Michelle, send him over one. Go ahead and send the debt free life because he liked the conversation. We started off with that. And I said, do you have anybody you know that can say yes to this question? If I could show you how to pay off all your debt in about one third of the time without spending more money next month than you did last month, do you want to know more? And he said, I know a lot of people like that. I said, okay, we're going to let you watch that video. But go ahead and send him the IUL video and the Fortis video and kind of see what we're all about. And the book an appointment with Scott, and then we're going to really talk to him. So that's how that thing works. Never think that just because I'm doing mortgage protection, final expense, I think Daniel last had one he was just talking about earlier. That was a final expense lead that turned into a debt-free life program. So always keep your ears open. And for Matt on here, the way what Scott was talking about is you typically teach your downline agents to ask a simple question, or you ask a simple question, what I just asked, or the other question is, if you didn't have any debt in your business, could you retire earlier? Right? It's a real simple question. If they say yes to that, send us the information. And just for asking the question, that 4 grand you talked about is going to be compensated, right? On average, or what you can expect to make something like that by asking those simple questions about $4,000 split on the advanced market. So, Scott, I just wanted to throw that out there and kind of tie into what you were saying and let them know. So it's all yours.
Yeah, 100%, Darren. And listen, guys, this meeting is for you. Daniel, and I'll tell you what happened. Daniel, dude had 3 or 4 different opportunities within like 3 days. You know why? Is because he and I spent a few minutes together, and I said, these are the questions you ask.
Yeah.
Just ask these questions. And guess what? He did. And guess what? All of a sudden now you've got people wanting to know more that we can do for them outside of just he has to die in order to get his $6,000 to be cremated. Like
Right.
there is so much more into this. Now, I want to show you something, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this yet. Well, just kind of pivoting a little bit. How many have seen the Abundant Life video advertisements out there on Facebook? Anyone? No, besides Darren, I guess that's it. So that was one of my good buddies. She did that. She's actually licensed with us, but works for Child Protective Services, and that is a full-time job. But I want to show you some of the things that I'm coming out with our debt-free legacy program. And if it's okay with you, and I hope it's okay because I have the control, so you really cannot give me crap about it. It's going to happen anyway. I'm going to share with you a very quick video, and I've got these videos out that they're going to be coming out almost daily now. And you guys feel free to use these if you see them on my Facebook. If you are not part of McDonald Financial Solutions on Facebook, please go and like them. I know Agents First also shares everything that I put out there as well. But I want to show you this. You guys let me know if you can see this because I kind of like it. So here we go. All right, folks, let's talk about a client who proves it's never too late to hit the reset button on your financial life. Now, I want to talk about our 49-year-old single father. He's just recently married to his new wife and ready to start a new chapter. He also has a 14-year-old daughter who is already eyeing college like it's a free ticket to Hogwarts. But behind the new beginnings was a financial reality scarier than a middle school cafeteria on pizza day. All right, he carried $202,000 in debt. Now it was just a mortgage and a car loan, still $202,000. His repayment plan looked like a prison sentence. I mean, it was 15 years and 7 months it was going to take him to pay all of this off. By then, his daughter would be old enough to run for Congress, and he'd still be stuck making payments. But here's the best part. Using the debt-free legacy plan, we showed him how to keep paying the exact same amount he was already paying, not a penny more, but just adding one simple step before sending those payments to his creditors. Well, what were the results? Well, how about this? He's going to be debt-free in 5 years. That shaved over 10 years of his payment timeline. He was looking at 15, now it's 5. $21,000 that he saved in interest that now he can spend on something better than bank profits, like, I don't know, college tuition or maybe a honeymoon. And by the time he's ready to retire in 20 years, his own personal bank that we set up for him will have grown to almost 700,000 in assets. Sound unbelievable? I get it. Most of us have been trained to believe debt is forever. You know, like that one relative who refuses to leave the couch after the holidays. But the truth is, it's just math. And math don't lie. You've worked too hard to stay stuck in the bank's cycle. All right, let's figure out what your debt-free legacy could look like. Imagine retiring without debt and with nearly $1 million in your own bank. Hey, all it takes is one conversation. All right, check out the information below. And this is Scott with Debt Free Legacy, turning your payments into possibilities. Let's talk soon.
Nice.
So
Beautiful.
that was just, you guys could see that okay?
Hmm.
Yep. So I've got, I think, 6 or 7 of those now, all with different scenarios that we have written already. And that's one of the things, if you notice, I don't put the names out. I don't do any of that. It's just something very simple that you can do on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, wherever you want to put that stuff out. And so feel free to share that. We have all kinds of different scenarios. A father, a young 31-year-old father of 2 children and a wife who's paying off over $600,000 in debt in less than 7 years instead of 28. We have 2 people going to be paying over 50 years and will be able to pull it off in 7 years, 6 years. So those are just some really, really cool things. And those are the reality of what we do here. When you're able to just post stuff like that, and then or share stuff like that, and then get the lead and say, hey, I got someone interested. Now I have no idea what in the world we're talking about. Send it our way. Great. This is what this is for. And then we also have our SME program, which I know we have one, two, three, three on here right now that were part of the SME program. Got their certifications, got all of that good stuff. We have another one coming up at some point. I'm also working with collectively a few individuals that want to kind of fast track this SME program, because once you are a subject matter expert and get certified with all of our stuff, you can then sell this and not have to split any of it. You literally can not only get 100% commission, but you can find other agents to become the subject matter expert for, and you can get 60% for leads that are brought to you. So it is a fantastic opportunity. Today, I want to talk to you guys about 3 letters: IUL. IUL. So we have our experts. Then we have our what do we call them? EITs, experts in training, maybe. Does that sound good? We'll go with that. Our EITs. And then I want to hear from some of our EITs or those who are just not even connected yet, but want to find out more. What does IUL stand for? Somebody help me out.
Indexed universal life.
Indexed Universal Life. Fantastic. Michelle, I'm not putting you on the spot, am I? What is an IUL?
It's a type of whole life policy. It's a permanent policy where you can accumulate cash value, and it has. Oh man, you are putting me on the spot this one.
Right? All of a sudden, it's like I forget everything. That's okay. That's okay. So let me
It's a
ask you a
term
question.
policy with an index fund.
It is,
Very
yes.
You
It's
said that.
tied to the S&P 500.
Okay. Okay. So it is a whole life policy, right? It is designed for whole life, permanent insurance. How is it different than whole life then? How is it different than whole life, anyone?
It has an index counter, has an index part to it attached to it, but it's usually set up like a renewing term.
Well, all whole life is. All whole life is set up as a renewing term. Basically, that's where the ART comes into effect, the annual renewable term within whole life. And Matt, that's
Right.
also one of the ways that people with IULs actually set these up wrong and policies start lapsing, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Because how many of us have ever heard from someone who's had an IUL who was promised millions and millions and millions of dollars all of a sudden get ready to lapse?
Yep.
Anyone ever faced that yet?
All the time. Yep.
So if you do that, if you face that, or if you are an upline for people, agents who have said, this policy is lapsing, what do we do? It's because, and again, I stand on this statistic, over 90% of IULs are written incorrectly in the US. They are just absolutely written incorrectly. So it is a universal life policy. So number one, that's the UL and IUL, right? UL, universal life. What is universal life? Universal life is a flexible, adjustable whole life premium designed to adapt to the different needs you may have. So it is not level payments necessarily. It's not, a level death benefit. You are able to craft and create inside the umbrella of life insurance. Well, why is that important to us? Because the IRS gives us different ways that we can navigate inside of the tax code and take advantage of tax advantaged programs. Tax deferred, tax free, it depends on how you do it. Okay. And so what we're talking about is not necessarily an insurance product for a death benefit. I want to make sure we understand that. Please do not sell or talk to people about an IUL as a death benefit. That is the last case scenario most times that we want to talk about. Well, what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about the ability to grow cash because that right now is what people are looking at. They're looking at how do I address my retirement today? I'm retiring in 10, 15, 20, 30 years. The smart kids are at 20 to 30 years old saying, I want to think about retirement now. Most of the kids were probably very similar to you and I when we were their age. We didn't think about it. We didn't want to think about it. We ask ourselves now, geez, what would have happened if I knew about this 30 years ago? But we didn't want to think about it. All right. So this is an IUL is a retirement idea, a retirement strategy built and wrapped around or wrapped with an insurance policy. Now, how many people have ever heard someone say, don't say an IUL is a retirement vehicle because it's wrong. It's not a retire. Has anyone ever heard someone say that? I've heard people from the company I came from, they're like, yeah, never say that. Well, the problem is the industry has a four-letter acronym for this. I want to see if Steph or Michelle remember this. Oh,
LERP.
Michelle does. Look at you, student number one.
I
Very
remember some
nice.
things.
All right, so tell everyone what the acronym is again and what it stands for.
LERP. It stands for Life Insurance Retirement Plan.
There you go. Life Insurance Retirement Plan or LIRP. Who has heard of that before? No. This is what is in the industry with financial advisors. This is the term that they use. So if anyone ever tells you an IUL is not a retirement vehicle, they show they do not know what they're talking about. A LIRP is legitimately life insurance retirement plan. It is a retirement plan. The second thing, though, and more important, is the type of plan it is. It is wrapped inside a life insurance policy. Well, why is that a big deal? Well, there are many reasons. I'm going to give you two because here's the thing, guys. Today, when we end this, I want all of you to be able to at least have a small conversation with someone at the dinner table, at the restaurant tonight, at the gym, at the bar, whatever floats your boat, wherever you are. You might not want to go to the bar, then the gym. Just accidents happen that way unless you have good life insurance, unless you have a LERP specially designed by us. But I want everyone to be able to practice this because I think this is the part we're missing right now. Hey, by the way, I never realized that we had so many cameras not working, Darren.
That's crazy,
Do you
isn't it?
realize that? It's like they're all broke. Everyone's camera is broke at the same time. I have over half of the people here on this call without their cameras on. Guys, no love whatsoever. And those who have the cameras on, thank you very much. So this is what we're going to say. It is a life insurance retirement plan. In other words, I want us to think about this for a second. Okay. What is the typical retirement plans out there right now? Who can tell me? Besides Michelle. Michelle's doing a really good job taking over this, but um,
1Ks, 403Bs, IRAs.
there you go. They are what they call typically they are what are called tax deferred or qualified retirement plans recognized by the IRS. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What is a 401k? How did it get its name? How did the 403b get its name or the 457A? Who wants to guess?
IRS tax codes.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's because it's what it is in the tax code. If you go to the IRS tax code, section 401, subsection K, you're going to find out that all of a sudden, oh, this is what I don't have to pay recognized income on because I get to defer this. And it goes into a vehicle called a 401k for whatever. And it all is covered by a three-letter acronym. What are the three-letter acronym? What is the three-letter acronym, I should say? Matt, good to see you, buddy. I love the hat, man, by the way. Just wanted to throw that out to you. What is the three-letter acronym that an IRA stands for? Somebody. What does it stand for?
Individual retirement account.
Individual retirement account. Therefore, just so we all know, a 401k, a 457, a 401a, a 403b, any of these are all under the umbrella of an IRA, individual retirement account.
Right.
Okay. So I want to compare two sides here with this because I want us to see if you were to talk to anyone. Now, listen, folks, the question is not how much can you pay right now in order to retire when it's time to retire. The question is, how are you currently preparing for retirement? If someone is working and not putting money into retirement, what does their future look like? It's not good.
They always have Social Security. That's funny.
So, right. It's funny, Michelle, except for the people who have never been taught correctly. And unfortunately, I talk to some of these folks every single day who are 70 years old, and I've got nothing but Social Security. I'm making $1,200 a month, and my bills are $1,400 a month. I don't know what I can do. Try having a conversation with that person, that 70-year-old grandmother, and it is horrible. It's horrible. So, to most other people that we talk to, how many of us have ever worked at a job before where we've had a 401k or some kind of retirement vehicle that we put money into every paycheck, right? What they do is they ask you, okay, how much do you want to contribute to your 401k? It's just kind of a thing you do. Well, where did the 401k come from? Horrible design product, by the way, was not ever really designed for the citizens. Just so we're clear, it was designed for the government, for the banks. They're the ones who are making out. We don't really do well on that. But it's only been around for 55 years. So that's kind of where it started out. But that's what people are doing. So the question is, where or how much do you currently contribute to retirement? Okay? Because everyone's going to do that. Then the next question is, How do you plan on paying for all the taxes you're accumulating? Get them to start thinking. And I'm telling you right now, guys, ask this question and then shut up. Don't say a word. Just watch the look in their eyes. Well, what do you mean? I've had people tell me, well, no, my 401k is not taxed. We have to pay taxes on that? I mean, there are people out there who do not understand what they're putting money into,
That's right.
that you have to pay taxes on this stuff. So the question is, number one, what was the first question? Anybody? Anyone?
How
How are you
much?
currently preparing for your retirement?
There you go. How much are you putting towards your retirement? How are you currently preparing? What's that dollar amount look like? Okay. Now, number two, how are you going to prepare for the taxes, for your tax bill with that retirement? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, how are taxes figured out with a 401k or any type of IRS recognized tax deferred qualified plan? How are they figured out? How are they calculated? What happens to the tax burden? Who wants to guess?
Deferred.
Oh, I heard
It's
Ben, is that you?
deferred.
Deferred. Okay.
It's deferred, but it's based on the tax rate at the time they start withdrawing the retirement fund.
And
So
59
chances
and a
are
half.
it's going to be much higher 10 years from now than it is today.
So that's a great point. First of all, let's say you put in $300 a month into your 401k. All right? I want you guys to do math with me. So get your brain sharpened here. 300 a month is how much a year?
3,600.
There we go. $3,600. Now, $3,600, let's say we're in a tax bracket of 22%. All right? So, Michelle Lee, because I know your mind is already there and you've already solved this, I want you to tell us what that amount is.
$792.
$792 that you do not have to spend today, but we're kicking the can down the road. Okay? Now, because it's deferred, the money stays in there. It's uninterrupted. So then what happens next year if I put in another $3,600? I have now in principal, or my basis is $7,200 now, right? 300 a month for 24 months, $7,200 plus, let's say I made 7% the year before and this year. So $7,200 and 7% on that is what? Yeah, I'm looking at you, Michelle.
504.
504.
There we go. $504. So now we have 77 and $4, right? That you owe taxes on. You see that? Not only do you owe taxes on the principal that you put in, but on everything you've earned. Now, how many of us have heard me preach about compound interest, compound interest, compound interest? It is a great thing. Would you not agree? Einstein said it's the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it makes it. He who does not pays it, right? What happens, though, when your tax bill is directly impacted by compound interest? Well, let's do the math on this. Let's say, in fact, someone could ask Google whatever you guys want to do, but let's say we carried this out for 30 years at 7%. What would 300 a month at 30 years in a 401k averaging 7%, what would the yield be before we paid taxes, before we paid our fees? Does anyone want to try to take that? Oh, I see a whole bunch of people muting. Carrie?
I got 90,720 before we have to take any taxes out.
So if you got 3,600 a year times 30 years
Right?
Should be
plus,
108,000.
yeah, then times 7% compounded each year,
That's what
that
I did
number
wrong.
would be, yeah, that number would be, does anyone else have another number?
I got to do it again and I can get it.
Can you say that again, Scott?
So we have, what is 30? So just, if you want to just put it in chat GPT, I don't care. $3,600 a year,
Mm-hmm.
earning 7% compound interest year over year. What is the balance after 30 years?
Scott, I'm getting 307,137.
Okay, that sounds about right. Does anyone else have anything different than that?
I got 340,188.
Okay, 340. Let's do this. How much is 3,600 times 30?
108,000.
108,000. Misha got 340. How much money did we make? 230?
230,000.
Okay. So not only do we owe our tax bill for the 100 and whatever, but we also owe our tax bill on the money that we made. Anyone want to take a guess? Let's see here. Misha, we're going to roll this out. Misha is a spry young gentleman, probably 32, 33-ish. He is going to retire in 30 years. And this is what he's doing. This was his retirement plan. He's going to stay consistent. He's going to put in $300 a month. He's going to do the Dave Ramsey, buy term, invest the rest. He's going to follow all, and I'm going to invest that $300 every single month. And so now he's looking and says, oh, $340,000. Nice. So Misha, when he is 60, can start taking that money. But Misha says, you know what? I look darn good right now at 32. I'm going to go until I'm 75. Then I'm going to retire. I don't want to touch this. I want to let compound interest make this thing grow to 1 million. Guess what Misha cannot do? Misha cannot let that 401k or deferred qualified plan, he cannot let that sit there past 73 years old.
Yes, take his
What has
RMD.
He has to take his RMD. What does an RMD stand for?
Required minimum distribution.
There you go. Required minimum distribution. Required by whom?
IRS.
Uncle Sam. Yeah. Required by Uncle Sam. Wait a minute. Why would they care when we took our money? Well, because guess what? They've been saying to us, by the way, remember that 100 and what was it, 110,000 or whatever, that 3,600 a month times 30 years, or 3,600 a year times 30 years, whatever that comes out to. You guys, 108,000 maybe. You guys remember, let's say 22% tax bracket is, that would be, someone help me out here, about well, let's say 25,000. I don't know. Let's just say we're somewhere that would be taxed. Now, what is 22% on 340,000? See, they get a bigger piece of this, don't they? Would you rather pay tax on the seed or tax on the harvest?
See,
I want you to think about that a second. Would you rather pay tax on the 108,000 every year that you had to do that, or pay tax when you take it out of the 340,000 at whatever you're required to take out? Because it's going to keep growing. If you take a look at your total tax bill, this is how it plays out, folks. If you run the numbers all the way up, by the way, are taxes going up or down? Anyone?
Up.
Now, why are we saying up? I see everyone pointing. Why do we say up? Why do you think that?
So inflation.
Okay. Inflation, what else?
national debt.
Okay. What else?
Unfunded liabilities
There
like
you
the
go.
Social
Security trust.
There you go. Guys, we have it would blow your mind 100 and almost 200 trillion in unfunded liabilities that the US owes to its citizens. Forget the national debt of 38 trillion that we owe to China and Russia and all the other countries. We owe it's a mess. Taxes have to go up. Has anyone looked at the front page of the Congressional Budget Office website? Anyone? What's on the front page there? There's an announcement that says by 2035, if we do not raise taxes to 50% with every American household, Social Security will be defunct and have to cut at least 25% of all Social Security out to its citizens. Now, I want us to think about that a second. By the way, Michelle Randall, this is what most people up to a certain point have thought of as retirement, is their Social Security.
Yeah.
Social Security was designed when people weren't living to 62. They never thought they'd have to pay this thing out. And now it's just a big buy. Any of you guys watch Dumb and Dumber? Who's seen that? Right? Dumb and Dumber. You realize this government basically has that same briefcase full of IOUs to its citizens right now. That is what we if any of us citizens would do what the government did, write checks the government is writing, we'd all be in jail. I'll get off my pedestal, but I'm just a little passionate about it. So this is what happened. The Congressional Budget Office. I don't know if it's on the front page now, or it was back about 8 months ago when I looked at it, but it's probably in there somewhere. Check it out. Check it out and see. Yep. So when you look at taxes, guys, there is no way they can't go. We are, even though we might fear that we are in a higher tax bracket now than we used to be, we are in a 50-year low period for taxes. If you look at the history of our taxes, we are as low as it's going to get right now, right?
Right.
So one of the things you need to talk to people, how much are you currently contributing to retirement? Number two, how are you prepared to pay for your tax burden when it comes time to retire?
Huge question. Yep.
Okay. Now, how about the third one? How much of your retirement can you afford to lose and still be comfortable? Why would I ask that question?
Because you're losing.
Downturn.
Market downturns, losing money. So wait a minute. You're telling me that if I lose money, I still have to pay the tax on what's recognized. Oh, so when I gain and then I lose, I still owe taxes on whatever that amount is, but my principal could go lower. Do you guys realize that every 4 years, the market averages a 6-month recovery to recover every 4 years? There is a downturn in the market that takes 6 years to recover from. This is over the last 50 years. Do the math, every 3.5 years. So what happens?
Months, not 6 years.
What's that?
You just said 6 years, I think on accident.
6 months. Yes, I'm sorry. 6 months. Yes. So every 3.5 years. So we'll just call it 1 out of every 4 years. The market goes down and it takes at least 6 months to recover. Now, think about that. If that is, what percentage is that for all of us math nerds out there? Oh, my Lord. Yeah, right, Carrie. Thank you. 25%. Beautiful. So 25%. That means, now, so let me ask you a question. I might be able to ask you, like, so does that concern you? You might be, no. That's 3 out of 4. I'll take my chances, and even so, it'll bounce back. Okay, let me ask you the question a different way. If there was a 25% chance that you jumped out of this airplane with the parachute on your back and the parachute doesn't open, is that safe? I want you to think about what you're saying here is that you are going to lose one every 4 years. And now the question is, how much can you lose and still be okay? Now, you watch their eyes when you ask them that question. And Ben, sometimes I've seen them sit there and say, well, I mean, I wouldn't want to, but I could probably lose about 20%. I could probably lose about that. Really? So what does 20% equal? You'd be surprised at how many people are just BSing you because they haven't even done the math and no, they're just trying to make it sound like what. Because the one thing you got to be careful of, folks, is when we talk to them about this, when we say things like this to people, you got to be careful not to come across defensive or argumentative because it's my money. I don't want someone to tell me how I'm screwing this up, right? So we want to come across as educators and not necessarily hostile. So you have to be careful with that. So anyway, how much can you afford to lose? And then the question is this: Hey, listen, Steve, what if I could tell you about a concept that's been around for years and years and years and years? Just the stockbrokers, Wall Street, bankers, they don't really tell you much about it. But there is a way that you can invest your money tax deferred. You can access it tax free. It is 100% liquid. It is guaranteed to never go down. And oh, by the way, as it's building value and something happens to you, your family gets 10 times plus the money you were saving. Would you have interest in something like that? Would you have interest in a retirement plan that would pay you out your whole life versus pay you out only for 7 to 10 years? Do you guys realize the average time a 401k in America is being used up? Does anyone know what that looks like? What is the average 401k last just in the last 20 years?
I'm going to take a guess, 6 years.
No, that's not a bad guess. Little low, little low. Anyone else? Anyone?
Maybe 10.
Since it's a guess, Scott, just say, how about 9?
So it was someone said 10. Michelle, did you say 10?
I said
It's
10.
it's about 11 to 10 years is the average 401k. Now think about this, guys. When does the average person retire? Social Security is recognized 3 years, 62, 67 and 10 months. We'll call it 68 and 73, or 72 rather, with Social Security. Let's say it's 68. 68. How long does a person plan on living? Now, I joke around with people all the time when I ask them, so Darren, tell me, when were you wanting to die? Because we're trying to figure out how much money we need to, have for your retirement. When were you planning to die again? Once they chuckle, whatever, say, all right, we don't know, right? But let's hope that we live to what is the, you know what? 1 out of 4 female adults lives to 95. 1 out of 4 male adults lives to 91. So, what does that mean? 68 to 90? That's 22 years. The average 401k lasts how long? So, one of two things happens. You either run out of life before, or run out of money before you run out of life, or you run out of being able to pay for your life because you got to make the money last all the way until death. Either way, it is a very, very poorly designed and structured system. Is this making sense? Is this helpful? Is this too much? Is this because all I want you to do is be able to have just a couple of questions. I just want you to be able to ask these questions so that we can pivot then and say, man, have we got some good information to share with you? Some great information. with an IUL versus a 401k, how many have seen my 401k versus IUL video on my YouTube channel? If you have not seen that, folks, please go and watch that. It's 38 minutes, maybe 32. I don't know what it is.
Scott,
Something
tell
like that.
that for agents that don't know, where can they go? Where can they go find that at if they want to leave your
Yeah.
link?
So it is on my YouTube channel, which is McDonald Financial Solutions. Um, just type it in on YouTube and you'll see the blue house with the just what you have up here in my background. You'll see the house that has a stock market index going up. That is where you'll find that. Also, I'm talking to MJ. Is MJ on here? MJ, hey MJ, do me a favor too, because now you have access to my YouTube. I want you to download that one, Fortis and the Debt Free Legacy, and put that on Agents First as well,
Thank
so
you.
we can have that out there. But basically, what thank you so much, MJ. So basically, what you guys are gonna see with that is the 401k. Not only does your tax burden, as it keeps compounding, keeps growing, your taxes end up being about 40% of your total amount. Your, by the way, fees from your broker wind up being 30+% total. Guess what that leaves you? About 30 to 40%. That's it. That's it. So everything you're doing in a 401k right now, everything you're doing is literally paying the government and is paying your broker. And you get about a third of it. It's time to flip the script. Would you agree? And so I want you guys to go back and watch that video. Go and check it out. It's just over 30 minutes long. Please go check it out because you'll be able to see I run specifically a 401k versus an IUL, the same monthly premium and the same time we're going to take out money at the end, the same amount. And literally the 401k expires in about 7 years. The IUL goes until the guy is 102. There's a good chance at 102, I'm not sure how much more money he's going to need to spend, but you know, anyway, I just want to throw that out there to you. So, any questions? I know this has been a lot of information. I hope this has been helpful. Again, my goal is that when you talk to clients, when you talk to prospects, look, go on Facebook tonight and say, doing a survey, PM me with the answers. How much are you currently contributing to your retirement? Number two, are you prepared to handle the tax liability that's going to come with your retirement? And what was the third one? Do you guys remember? And Carrie, I'll get right to you in a second. What was the third one? Oh, say that
How
again.
much?
How much can you afford to lose and still be okay?
There you go.
There you go.
How much can you afford to lose and still be okay? Throw that out on social media. Just say, hey, PM me back. It is absolutely. I mean, ooh, what did Sarah say here? Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Sarah. I want to see this. Nice job. Nice job. Look at that. Building ads and funnels for this as we speak. That's great. That's so great. Carrie, what were you going to say?
More of a question. On the
Sure.
Medicaid side of IULs, anything to be concerned of there? Because I heard that when you have Medicaid, an IUL can be interrupted because of, it's a welfare type of thing. So
Yeah.
do we
So
still
that
be sticking to participating whole life for that, or
no, that's fake news.
that's
It
fake
it
news?
is
Okay.
yes, it is. So listen, when you have the IRS views a life insurance policy as just that, it is a life insurance policy. It is considered non-liquid assets that are protected from um, probate, protected from government, protected from risk, but all of those other things. That is not ever viewed as income because it is
Got it.
non-liquid and you never so it does, you don't have to pull it out at 73, you don't have to do any of that. Now, what will happen is if the policy lapses, which many universal and variable universal life policies are, then it will not count. Or if it is in a mech status where you've put too much into it,
Okay.
then it becomes a liquid asset and will be viewed differently. But any cash value you have in a correctly structured IUL, participating whole life, does not matter. It is not viewed as a liquid asset that is going to count for anything government, federal related. So, for example, you have kids. This is one of the huge selling points for IULs with children. You people put in a 529. Those things are junk. They're just junk. Again, every fourth year it goes down. Takes 6 months to recover. Well, how long from when a child is 1 year old till they go to college? 18 years. Do the math. That's 25%. 4 years are going to be at a minimum down, where it takes them 2 years to recover out of 18. Then I got to pay. You don't have to pay taxes on it, but you have to have a whole lot of restrictions. And can I please do that? And what happens if I bought a computer and I didn't think they needed it for school or any of that other stuff? It is so you're handcuffed with that. Versus you put in that same amount of money every month into an IUL for your child. Not only do they have cash to go to school, they have life insurance for the rest of their life because there's a good chance before they're 65, 72%, something like that, of people at 65 or older have some kind of critical, chronic, or terminal illness and would not be able to get life insurance. So that is why it is so powerful. Never goes down. And by the way, the money that they have in there, when it comes time to FAFSA, and all those other things where you get your federal aid, they cannot look at that. It is not money. My kids literally got nothing because I had so much in my, bank accounts and whatever else, and they're like, "Yeah, you don't qualify." So this is what. So there is nothing with a proper insurance policy that is going to keep you from federal assistance.
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. So, questions, comments, issues, concerns. Someone might be, is someone saying something? I don't know if I can. Can you guys hear that? I'm gonna.
We heard you, Scott.
No, I'm hearing someone else saying, "Can you hear me?"
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Who is that?
Okay. I had some
Jason.
bunk earphones in. All right. So, couple questions. So, with an index fund like a VTSAX Vanguard fund, the expense ratio fees are very low. So, probably lower than the IUL policy. So, that's a pretty good investment for people minus the taxes. How do you get around that one?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that I am never suggesting that an IUL is the only thing a person ever does. I'm not suggesting that. But what I would say to anyone who is looking at that is, first of all, well, besides the taxes, how do you get around it? Well, I think taxes are going to speak for themselves. That's good. That's going to represent 40% back to the government on your growth. I mean, it just is as it goes forward. But not only that, what happens if you don't use it all and you die? Well, your heirs are going to have to pay taxes on that. Not only an inherited IRA tax, or even if it's mutual funds or whatever else, then it's going to be capital gains or gift tax or inheritance tax or something like that, if not more than one thing. So trust me, it's not just going to be income tax. The other part is the risk. If you look at straight indexing, and just because it's an index fund does not mean the same thing as indexed universal life or how they index fixed indexed annuities. An index, it does not mean the same thing. I want to make sure you are aware of that because sometimes people might think that's the case.
One has dividends and one don't.
So that's I want to make sure you get that part too. They will still go down. They will absolutely still go down. The other thing, Vanguard, yes, they only have that low fee because you're basically doing a self, agent, whatever it is. Keep in mind, the only thing that is required by law to be published by these other brokers and these fiduciaries are only the fees from the fiduciary, not the other fees internally. So, for example, if you take some kind of whatever NASDAQ generation, blah, 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 whatever, they might be charging you 1%, 1.25%. But then during the trade, there's the trade fee, there's this fee, there's this fee. That those things do not have to be published, but they have to be with life insurance.
I'm talking from a
We
self-storage account where you just do it. There's an expense ratio. I don't have a broker.
Well, that's my point. But the thing is, you can't. So when they go and when you liquidate something from one account to another, that has to come from someone. That's not coming from you, right? So there are fees associated with that, and that's
Oh,
why they
got
say
it.
even though, and this is where part of Jason when you look and you actually lay it all out with the information that is hidden, because they disguise it. They are not required to show this, which is something that really annoys me, is that within any insurance product we have it is spelled out. There are 63 pages in there where you have to show here's the fees. This is the max it could be. This is the worst case scenario. All of those things. What we say is what it is. But then when you do one of these other, so again, would I ever recommend don't do some kind of Vanguard index? I wouldn't recommend you don't, but I would recommend it not be your first point of retirement. You need something that is as safe and as least amount of risk as possible with the highest amount of growth. And the other thing that you can't do with that fund there. So, for example, let's say someone's got $40,000 in there and they've played it right, every time and it's doing pretty well. Okay, so $40,000 in there and they die, someone gets $40,000. If you have $40,000 cash in an IUL and you die, they get 250 tax free.
Yeah.
So there's so many other things compared to just looking at it side by side. Because I'd never recommend someone wouldn't get it. I'm just saying you need to be balanced. Look, I have stocks. I have stuff that I still do that is outside of insurance. Absolutely. It is a small amount.
I have two quick ones. One on the 7702 tax code.
Uh-huh.
So with that, well, I've been hearing this for years. I'm 51, so I remember being in my 30s hearing about this code. So it's been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like my dad that's retired, or someone maybe even younger than him in their 60s, they're like, "Oh man, I've never heard of that. That's a scam. What is that?" How do you get over the fact that people are going to be like, "What is this tax code and will it go away?"
Ask him what he's heard about a 401k. How scammy does he think that one is? Ask him about a 457. Do you think that's a scam? All at 7702 is literally just the part of the tax code. That's the section.
Hey Scott,
That's
why don't we go ahead? Remember in 3 hours, 2 hours, we have another training. And it's the for the subject matter experts.
Yep.
And Jason, I want to welcome you to that one, even though you're not a part of it.
Okay. All right.
In depth. And I don't want to confuse a bunch of our newer agents because these are questions that we learn about in the bigger, the upper level of trainings. And so I don't want to confuse too many people, Scott, if you're okay with that.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fine. Too good of questions, Jason. Don't do that anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right. So is there any other questions on this? Again, I know this is a lot of information. MJ is recording this. I welcome you guys. All go to the Agents First YouTube channel this afternoon or tomorrow morning, and jump on this and listen again if it's helpful. MJ, I hope you're feeling better, by the way, my dear. I know she's not been feeling too good, so I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you,
We don't I
Scott.
don't like anyone to be sick. So you're absolutely welcome. Carrie, I would love to have you join in the next training as well. That's in 2 hours, same bat time, same bat channel. We go over a little bit more in-depth questions and kind of get into the weeds a little bit with that. So all in an effort to because we want to become subject matter experts, and this is the road that most of us want to go down. You'll find, well, I think Matt, I think Darren said that there's agencies out there that'll hire you, and they say, "Oh, we do IULs, we do fixed index annuities, infinite banking, all of that. Okay, now sell final expense." And they have no idea. We do not shy from that. You want to learn the good stuff? We have a spot for you here. Let's learn it and let's do that. Steve, what you got, bud?
How do you become a member of the what do you call it?
To me.
The SME, the subject matter expert?
Yeah, the SME. How do you get in that?
Yep. So there is what we did before was there was a boot camp that we held. There was prerequisites that we needed you to go through and pass, get a couple of different certifications, and then you had to attend the boot camp, which was a 3-day boot camp. Once you pass that, you've got your subject matter expert certification. And now with an Agents First, you are able to sell any of our advanced market products and able to be a subject matter expert for other agents that want to split with you. So that's how that works. The next one we're going to have is in Vegas.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, and so we also have kind of a accelerated training that we're doing before that. So that way, when we're in Vegas, it only takes a few hours to do it. And that's something that I'm just playing with. Michelle is part of that. Who else is part of that?
I'm gonna
Steph,
jump
I
in on
think.
that. So we got our national conference coming up in October the 13th through 15th. In
Mhm.
order to be subject matter expert, we will have some advanced training that you can do online. But in order to get certified, you have to be at the conference, right? So that's going to be like you've got to go to convention and kind of get the hands-on part of it during that time. We'll have some breakout rooms that you'll go to, and those people that are getting certified for the SLME will be at the Vegas convention, and you'll get certified at the time. So,
Yep, absolutely. By the way, guys, a shameless plug. This Vegas convention, Momentum 2025, is going to be
off the charts,
it
man.
is going to be crazy. We are at the Strat in Vegas. We're going to be announcing, putting out all that information out. We have the flyer. I just don't like it because it's got Darren's picture and my picture on it. So we got to figure out how we do something different. Maybe we'll put like Misha and Michelle or yeah, and Jane or something on there, Darren, because
I think
you know. But we've got some vendors. We've got Ladder. We've got National Life Group. They've already committed that they are going to be there. I'm telling you guys, the ticket prices are the rooms itself. We have a full week blocked off, Saturday to Saturday, for all agents if they want it. The room, including the resort fee, is $70 a night.
Yep.
You
And
will not find that.
most
You will
resort
not find that.
much
What's
alone.
that, Darren?
Most resort fees that much alone, and that is the room
Yep.
and the resort fees for
Mm-hmm.
$70 a night at the most, in my opinion, the Stratosphere, which is the Strat, is the place, the casino we're staying at, is one of the most recognizable casinos in all of the Strip. It's got the tallest tower. It's just really recognizable, and everyone's going to know it. Did a great job of getting to me, in my opinion, one of the best locations on the Strip.
Mm. Yep. So we're excited about that. So make sure everyone be watching because this week we're going to come out with the official, here's how we do it, here's how you pay for it, here's all the info. And a lot of vendors, a lot of carriers are paying a lot of money to come see you. So you are very important to them. And we're really excited about it. Okay, Miss Randall, you and I and Darren are going to jump into my room. Darren, or yours, or what do you think?
Did we have a meet? Okay. I've actually got Scott. I've got a 1 o'clock. I'm supposed to be on sales. Can you and Michelle handle that one?
Yeah, Michelle, just come into my MFS room.
All right.
Okay.
I'll be in the mortgage protection room. Anybody wants to hear me, I'm going to be trying to close equity protection. I've got a 1 o'clock. I'm a little bit late, but I'll be in the mortgage protection room closing, hopefully, at least pitching a sale. Okay.
Beautiful. We'll see you guys all soon.
Okay.
Peace, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.